Today, I'm going to be talking about the book In the Mountains Echoed by Khaled Hosseini. So, the book starts with this father telling his children this story about another father and his children. Well, this father in this story, he is in this village where a group come around called the Div, and they take one person every time they come. Well, this time they took the father's beloved youngest son, Case. So obviously the father was devastated and will always remember his son, even after finding him but not being able to take him home. What he knows, though, is that the son will never remember him, but he'll always be happy, but he'll always be technically trapped. So, the dad who told this story, he takes his two children, Abdullah and Perry, across the desert to meet with his uncle Nabi, who is supposedly rich. So while they're with them, Perry, the sister, ends up staying with them for the rest of her life. She's quite young. She's about 6. But Perry and Abdullah are so close that when she doesn't go back with Abdullah, Abdullah becomes devastated and forever has her in his memory. But what he doesn't know is that Perry forgets about him because she is so young and she gets basically brainwashed to this new lifestyle. So then you have the family with Perry, which consists of Nabi, which is actually the chauffeur, so he's really not rich, but he always comes in Mr. Waditi's car, which Mr. Waditi is rich, and he marries Neela, which is now Mrs. Wadati. And so Perry gets raised in this very wealthy household. So while Perry's living her rich life now, Abdullah obviously goes on with his life. He eventually moves to America and has a family of his own. He has a daughter, and he names her Perry, as in remembrance towards his sister. So as he grew older, though, he started to lose his memory more and more until he didn't remember anything from his past life. But Perry, she knew about this sister because obviously he's told her about her. And she felt that Perry, or her and her dad's sister, had some sort of connection. So, Perry and Neela end up moving to London because Mr. Wadati ends up dying. In reality, he just got sick. Well, he had a stroke. So, Nabi, who I mentioned earlier, the uncle, decides to stay back and take care of him the rest of his life, which is about 50 to 55 years. He acquires a strong friendship with him. All in all, by the time you get to the end of the book, you realize that all these characters that you have in the book have their own personal story that you read about. Every chapter is about a new character in all their lives, and within their lives, you have different characters that you learn about. But all in the end, it's like a tree with twigs and leaves coming about, but like a tree is, it all connects to the root, which is this book. All the characters intertwine, and through characters connect, which I believe is an amazing way to write a book. So, we get to the ending. I was kind of sad to get to the ending, but I'm always sad at the end of the books because I kind of get attached to the characters. But anyways, so I get to the end, and finally, Perry and Abdullah are together. But it's so sad because, unfortunately, Abdullah doesn't remember anymore. And he had a stroke and had another one, therefore he really doesn't remember. But the two Perrys really get along, and they kick it off together, because, once again, the daughter Perry of Abdullah has always felt a connection, but she lost that connection through time. But when she met Perry, the real Perry, she felt it once again. So overall, I really liked this book. I thought it was really well written, like I said before. What I disliked was that it's kind of hard to keep up with sometimes because the timeline hops from 1920s to 1950s and 1980s to 2000s. But once you get the hang of it and you know how to read the dialogue, because past dialogue is in italics, current dialogue in quotations, whatever. You learn how to read the book, and it's really cool. So overall, I really enjoyed this book. I'd rate this book about a 10. Well, it was very well written, which I thought it was very well written. It was kind of confusing at times, but I blame that partially on myself, because I read this book quite slow in the beginning. But once I got into it and started reading big chunks at a time, it was quite enjoyable. So I believe this book deserves a 9 or a 10. I think anybody who likes to wait to the end or always be on their feet or on their toes or the edge of their seat in a curious sense, not a suspenseful, but you just kind of want to know what obviously wants to know what happens, but a person who really understands psychology and the mind and how people work and how people think and interact with each other. I believe that this book is such an intricate book and written in a way that is truly amazing, and I really enjoyed this book, and I plan on reading other Khaled Hosseini's books. Overall, this book was great.